Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jack, Zafra991 here, and what I've got for you today is some more F122 My Team career. This time we are looking at our replay at Miami for the previous round. Check the card out at the top if you want to see it, but we start 12th on the grid, fall all the way down to 15th, but we come up all the way into 11th place by the first corner here. Absolute carnage fest this is becoming, and we're going to try and work our way up the grid. Want to try and get some points for this one here. And that is what we're going to do our best to do, really. So we're right behind Pierre Gasly and ahead of Mick Schumacher. So we want to try and keep ahead of the Haas if we can and score some good points. We're right on the back there, and you're going to see we get so close to Pierre Gasly. And we do make a tiny bit of contact there as we go on the inside of Gasly. And look at this gap opens up ahead, and we somehow fall back behind the pack. After skipping forward to that 10 here, we are in a three-way battle with Kevin Magnussen and Valtteri Bottas. This is a fight for 8th place. And we're going to make a dive down the inside on Bottas and get it done very nicely on the Alfa Romeo there. And as does Kevin Magnussen, makes the move stick as well. And they're going to be side by side going through this segment in the corners here. But Valtteri Bottas comes out slightly ahead and looks for the move around me, but we're going to force him on the outside the long way round. And as we're trading positions left, right and centre there, we are going to cover off the line and luckily get that move done. We are kind of safe now. We do drop behind, and we do have Bottas make the move on us later that lap, fall back into P9, and Kevin's just right up our rear bumper now, or on our rear wing. And as we come around the twisty turny bit of the track, the slowest and toughest bit of the track as well, we're basically just trying to bring it home right now. We're riding that sausage curve. This time we break up, we lock up, and Magnussen gets through up into P9. We're down into P10. We're fighting for 1 point right now, right ahead of Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel, which, as you can see here on the final lap, Lewis has got the move done on me, but we're just in the DRS range. We're still sticking with him. We're going to go for the move here. We're going to have some contact, late braking. Vettel gets the move done on me there as well, but we're stuck sandwiched between them. We've got nowhere to go. Hamilton, myself, door bashing, side by side, but we do survive. And what a race that was last week. Right guys, so we're preparing for the Spanish Grand Prix for the next round in our My Team career mode here. If you like what you see guys, make sure you like and subscribe. We're on the way to 1,000 subscribers, and any and all support is always appreciated on the channel. So we're getting ready for Spain here, and you can see a couple of parts are pending the development upgrades. We've got a couple actually due very soon. We're going to start getting the upgrade here to the engine wear reduction, because that's actually going to be quite important for this race, as you're going to find out later on in the video. And what we really need to do here is try and make sure we finish the races and finish the races with points. So I'm just trying to think of ways that we can do that, and I do think getting these is kind of essential at the moment to help us grow. Now in terms of our team, we're currently sitting in P12 and P13 for the driver standings, both myself and Yuri. I'm 1 point behind Yuri, so hopefully we can get some more points in this video and race, and maybe throughout the season as well. I'd like to be the #1 driver for my team. And as for the constructor standings, we're 1 point behind Alfa Romeo, so I think we can actually fight for that P6 position. So we're going to try that anyway. So I also need to let you guys know as well, the audio in this one's a bit weird and it's a bit echoey. I don't know what the problem is with that. I will get that revised and hopefully sorted for next video. So just to let you know about that, we have had our power unit fail here, the ignition system. So we're going to re-select that, and that'll be ready just before our Monaco Grand Prix. So let's skip forward time a little bit more, where we've just got activities arranged.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for the weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
So we have had our what's that? The chassis fail there, I think it is. Well, before we go to that though, we're actually ahead of Williams Racing, just ahead of Williams Racing now, not by much. So we do need to keep working on developments to make sure they don't get ahead of us. However, I do think I've got a bit of an advantage against them in terms of our straight line pace and how we feel just generally along track. We've beaten Albon and Latifi a good couple of times now, but also we have had our really poor race around Australia. So we want to keep on a momentum and hopefully keep rising and do a little bit better each and every race. But you see here, we're in the Aston Martin F1 edition, and we're doing our Autocross here. So it's basically the gates, hitting 68 gates here around Spain, the Barcelona track, and oh, we hit one there, 5 seconds added to our time, not ideal. Basically, we want to try and hit that gold target so we can get the $100,000 cash reward and the 100 acclaim. And basically, that's going to just help us unlock our next sponsor so we can get more funding for our team. we do go a little bit sideways there briefly. This was really fun. I actually really enjoyed going around the track with this one. I think I slowed down a little bit too much here. I don't think I needed to go quite as slow. But as we're entering the right-hander here, the tight-ish right-hander, it's not that tight actually, is it? I do think I've got a bit of control around this car, or saying that I do go a bit sideways, so maybe not. So this track I've been around many times, because I've actually done this plenty in Gran Turismo 7, Gran Turismo Sport, both at Assetto Corsas, Competizione in the original, and I think in AMS2 as well, to my knowledge, but not too sure. But yeah, I've done this one so many times, not in an F1 car or in a road car such as this Aston Martin F1 edition. So of course this is a little bit new of an experience for me. But yeah, I have driven this track quite a lot, so I do feel quite strong around here. So I'm hoping to get a good performance and get into Q3. But you see here, we're just trying to make sure we get our gold medal here, which I think we are looking safe right now. Only a couple of gates left to go. And the home stretch, I didn't need to slow down there, but look at that, 138.9. And that's going to be our gold medal there by quite a mile. And feeling quite snazzy in this car, feels absolutely amazing. So I will take that, great reward, get some XP for that. Of course, always looking to unlock. But yeah, pretty great stuff that. So anyway, let's advance into qualifying, where we're going to be starting our Q1 qualifying session. And you can see here it's a little bit cloudier today than it was during our Pirelli Hot Lap Challenge. So that may play to advantage here, it may not. We'll have to see how this one goes. As we're strapping in, strapping up. So let's begin here. So as we start our first lap of qualifying here, we're not too far behind the Aston Martin. I think that could be Sebastian Vettel. Yes, it is. Who we actually had a close race with last week, right on the last lap. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out in the card at the top of the screen, or check out on the playlist, which I'll leave in the video at some point. Of course, lots of fun we've been having in our team career mode so far, and really good season. I've really enjoyed it. First time we're actually doing one of these proper. So we're going to get the DRS here and maximise our efficiency by pressing it straight away. And we're going to qualify here so far for lap 1 on P2. We do fall down the order slightly, but it's slides later on with everyone getting their lap times in. But we're 4 tenths up on our time right now. Are we going to gain that time back? We lost a little bit and we're gaining it. There we are, back into 4 tenths. And that is going to get us into P7 so far. So we're behind Bottas, ahead of Magnussen at the moment. Actually directly behind Ocon. But I do want to try and beat the Alfa Romeos here. I do think we could be fighting for P6 for the Constructors' Championship at this moment in the series. Do go off track, so our time is invalidated, but we're going to go again. Hopefully we can actually get a good qualifying time here. However, we do come away with a P10 for Q1, so brilliant. We have qualified into Q2. As for our teammate, Yuri Vips, let's have a little look, see where he's gone. You see the Ferraris, Mercedes and Red Bulls are all in the top 1, 2, 3 positions. Alexander Albon, Nicholas Latifi and Yuri Vips ran off the bottom 3, so that's not good there. We do want to try and get our teammate into a high position. As we come on to the lap 1 of our Q2 session, we've just purpled sector 1, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. This is our hot lap right here. I'm feeling pretty good about this, but we are getting held up by a Magnussen here, which is not so good. Now we know the Haas has a lot of power and a lot of straight line speed. However, this is one of my strong tracks in the game, and basically any track that I've driven like tons of time, I feel like I've got a bit of pace around. This is one of them. I think this, Spa, maybe Interlagos, I'm not too sure. There's a couple of tracks I feel quite confident around, but we'll just see how it all goes anyway. But we're just stuck behind Magnussen for the time being. And eventually Magnussen does break away from us in the last sector of the track. But we do go up into P2, briefly behind Russell and ahead of Magnussen, but that's quickly going to drop down into P7 with Hamilton just up ahead of us right now. As we get him through the new section. Sorry, this is not the new section, sorry. This is the flowing left-right. But yeah, this year we do have the new layout of the track, and I'm a massive fan of it. We'll go over it later anyway. But we do set purple. We do set purples there, fastest lap of the qualifying session, and look at that, we're up into Q3 now. We've got into P8 for Q2, so brilliant stuff. Our rivals, well, not official rivals, we've not got an official rival yet, but we are ahead of Valtteri Bottas and Magnussen, As we look over who's been eliminated, that's going to be Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher, Daniel Ricciardo, and Zhou Guanyu. So, yeah, into Q3, that's brilliant. That's just what we want to be doing. Our car should be performing okay into Q3, but I don't have the best of hopes because we are still towards the bottom of the bracket. I think we might need to knock up the difficulty as well, potentially. I think we're rocking 64% difficulty. The MG UK you see there has got a bit of wear on it, and you can see that's popped up in the bottom right. So we had a little look on that. That's okay, but luckily we got that bonus applied to the start of the video. So that 10% wear is reducted. That should only help us in this race here. So quite pleased that I've got that selected. And at the moment we've got purple sector 3.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Leclerc, Hamilton, and Max Verstappen. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Brilliant. So we're going to be starting this one on P5. Brilliant stuff, and really pleased with that. So we're going to get some acclaim for that, luckily. Get up to set level 7, and hopefully our team acclaim can get to level 8 by the end of this video. That'd be really good. I want to keep that climbing. I want to get to level 10 so we can get our next sponsorship unlock.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix. It's a race which saw Max Verstappen take victory on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016, after that dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down into Turn 1. This is a 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through the 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out Turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of Turn 9. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Sainz, Jackson, and Russell, Perez, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, and Kevin Magnussen, Norris, Ocon, Mick Schumacher, and Ricciardo, Joe, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, and Yuki Tsunoda, Stroll, Yuri Vips, Latifi, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And a warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Why don't we discuss Red Bull? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within the team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do. And that has definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Alright guys, here we go. So we're going to start our formation lap here. And wow, okay, starting in P5, that is so good for me. We could actually be getting some really good points here. Signs up ahead of us.
Not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want you to bog down.
Signs ahead of us here, going for the alternative strategy. We're making sure we're getting our tyres warmed up here. We've got Russell and Perez right behind us. We're sandwiched right between all the top runners. So I think we might need to bump up the difficulty from 65. Oh, we get Russell goes into us, but luckily ghosting is a thing. Very pleased about that, because I thought our race could have been over there. So yeah, we're going to do some burnouts here and just raise our temperature of the tyres, because this will help with our starts. And I'm still kind of struggling with the starts, although I have kind of gotten better at them. I'm still struggling a bit. But we're going to start this one at P5 here, and we're going to just see what we can do.
Decent parking. Let's try and get a good launch as the lights go out.
And that's our better parking that we have done.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Alright, here we go. So let's get ourselves all prepared and ready. And lights are going out now. So 3, 2, 1. And here we are. It's go time. We're off. Lights out, where we go for the Spanish Grand Prix here. As you see, Russell and Perez just behind us here. And we only lose one position there to Russell. Is Perez going to go around the outside of us here? He's going to look for it briefly. Pokes his nose through, but luckily we hold him off. Now I don't think we can really compete with these guys up here. So Magnus is just behind. So actually it's keeping Perez at bay. But I don't think I can really compete with the front runners here. So when Perez gets a chance to go past, I think I might as well just let him. But we're going to just try and utilise F1 to try and hopefully get a P6 or P5 finish. Or ideally just get some good points here. So Magnussen just up behind us here. One of our competitors here in the Constructors' Championship. That's going to be with Alfa Romeo and Haas. So the two Ferrari engine manufacturers. Now we just want to do what we can to make sure that we just survive lap 1 really.
We're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
So the ICEs, as you see, got some damage there. This is the new layout of Spain. If I've not mentioned it so far, this is what it looks like, and it is fantastic. Apologies about noise there, guys. My phone has just dropped on the floor. But yeah, this is a new layout of it, and I'm such a fan. I think this has got such a good flow. It feels so natural, so I'm a really big fan of that. Not too much a fan of this little kind of chicane bit here at the end. It's a bit clunky, but it's okay. It could be worse. So we're losing Russell, as you can see there, but we know that our car's not quite as powerful as it could be. Same with the Haas car as well. It's got a lot more power than ours, so I wouldn't be surprised if Magnussen does permanently get the move done on us. But on lap 3, we start to get DRS, so we can actually start hopefully pulling away from all the drivers behind and maybe start making up some moves as well. But you see Perez there just behind us right now, with Bottas just behind him, so it's actually starting to kind of develop a bit more this race. And just trying to make sure we survive this one really, and just try not to make too many mistakes, because the mistakes will cost us quite a bit around here. This is definitely a handling circuit. We get the move done there on Magnussen. I think it's handling circuit anyway. We get the move done on Magnussen there, as Magnussen goes a bit deep. A little bit of lockups there, I think it was. But either way, we get a better apex and we break away. And now once again, Magnussen and Perez have fallen back into each other's arms. So I'm going to go around this lovely left-hander here. Really big fan of this new layout. And just trying to really break away from the pack behind, because after the pit stops and everything, that's going to be where, well, that's where we're going to see ourselves basically. We're going to see if we've actually managed to stay ahead or fall behind. That's if we don't make any mistakes between that time. The sign's on alternative strategy there in P4. He's starting from the mediums and then going to go to the softs, I think it is. Our strategy. Our wheel wasn't working at this point in time.
DRS is being enabled
this was.
We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS.
This was at the time our wheel wasn't working. Oh, it looks like the drivers behind going side by side, Magnussen and Perez, but Perez gets through and Magnussen is put at bay. But our wheel wasn't working, so we actually couldn't amend our strategy options or coordinate any instructions to our spotter. So unfortunately, we won't be able to make the exact strategy yet. Speaking of which, but yeah, basically going to be pitting, I think, on that 8 or 9 onto the medium tyres, I believe it is, or the hards. So Perez gets the move done on us there with the DRS, but actually, to be honest, I was expecting that. Being lap 4 now, we do have 2.2 seconds to Magnussen and Bottas behind, who we were directly competing with last episode. So brilliant stuff there. I do want to stay ahead of them if we can, because this is one of my stronger tracks on the calendar. And of course, Sainz and Alonso will want to be competing for their home crowd, trying to get some good points for their own track. As will we when we get to the British Grand Prix, which is a couple of weeks away yet. But at the moment, we're just sticking with Perez and making sure we don't make any mistakes or any major mistakes, because we can utilise Perez for his slipstream and for the DRS, which we see when he used here. And it does really help actually, because where all the front guys are all together, from Leclerc to Russell, the top 5 are literally all bunched together, I believe it is. We are pretty much just stuck behind Perez and just about in the slipstream range, as you can see here, but he's slowly breaking away from us as we get to lap 6 here. And that gap to Bottas and Alonso is expanding, so that's brilliant. That's just what we need to happen with the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo cars battling. But you see, we just outbrake ourselves here, and not quite as heavy-footed as we needed to be. So we do get it slightly wrong, get some underbody damage there, and we lose Perez and his slipstream, so that's not good. We do.
The underbody's taken a little damage. Just watch out for it.
We do fall back down the order.
The car in front is 6.7 seconds.
Sorry, we do fall back down the. We lose a bit of time.
Okay, we think the underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious at the moment. Just be careful.
But we go into P2 briefly on lap 8 before we come into our pit stops. Into lap 9 right now. We're just going to make sure we get a perfect pit stop if we can. We see loads of people in the pits, Norris and Schumacher included, as Leclerc goes back through us and Verstappen. But we're going to get the perfect optimal pit stop here, and a really really good pit stop. We're going to get there as well. I think that's our best pit stop we've had so far. I will disable the pit assist, I think. Maybe from not Monaco, but the one after. Azerbaijan, I think it is. It might disable the pit stop assistance because I just need to get used to it, really. But I think that's the only pit stop assist, well, so the only assist running. But yeah, falling into P7 right now, and that's kind of where I'm expecting this to finish for this one, unless I make any big mistakes. On lap 10 here, as you see, we are just up ahead of Alonso, not by much, and Bottas not far behind as well. So this is going to look like a close one for points here, but I just want to take home points today. That's really what I want to do. Our first season, of course, our rookie season, we just want to get used to the car and get used to everything. And now we're all on the medium tyres, us lot. Basically all running the same kind of strategy for the most part, just we came in a little bit later. This gave Alonso and Bottas the opportunity to start closing us up when we were warming our tyres up, and with our mistake made earlier. So quite crucial that was as well, as we were saying earlier. That mistake did cost us quite a bit of time. And look, we're just not out of the DRS range for Alonso, so Alonso's just gaining time on us for absolutely nothing right now. So all we can do is really just try and hold him off when we get to that stage in the race. But with only 6 laps left to go.
The pace is strong, but be aware these tyres need to go the distance.
With only 6 laps left to go, anything can happen. And although we got the tyre advantage here, being slightly newer, Alonso does have the engine.
5.4 seconds.
Does have the engine and also has the development and just generally the home crowd support, which goes a long way with the DRS included. So we fall back into P8, which is not ideal here. Lowest position we've been today, but can we just make sure we come ahead of Bottas? It's going to be a close one here. I think this one could go to the end with only 5 laps left to go. I can't do my maths today. 5 laps left to go this one. Oh, we got a bit sideways there, a little bit too heavy on the throttle pedal there. Need to be a little bit more cautious on our inputs, that's for sure. But you see, we're starting to lose Alonso a little bit here, but as long as we're staying Alonso's DRS, we should be safe from Bottas. I really hope so anyway, because we're fighting for not many points at the moment, but our main competition is, well, is with Alfa Romeo and Haas in terms of our constructor standings. And hopefully we can pick a rival soon, that'd be really good. I'd like to pick one soon now. But we've had a stellar qualifying session, and we're still in the DRS range of Alonso, which is really good. Carlos Sainz with the fastest lap at 1:21.7, so definitely feeling the home crowd support. And there you go, we've got our DRS, as does Bottas behind, at 4 tenths, which is going to kind of come down a little bit as this one progresses. Because he's definitely got the engine on us. We are definitely one of the slower ones on the grid, but luckily this is one of my stronger tracks, so I can kind of hold my own a little bit around here. But you're going to see Bottas gets the move done briefly on us. We're going to stay on the inside here, not going to give up just yet, because we want to really fight tooth and nail for these points. And with Norris at 8.8 seconds behind, we don't really have to worry about Norris really for this race. It's really P8, 7, 8 or 9 we're going to be competing for here. So similar to last week actually. Quite similar, that's 2 weeks in a row we're kind of in the same kind of stage. But as I said, I do feel quite good round here, so I think we could be in for a good chance of getting some points, as long as we don't make any mistakes. With only a couple laps left to go around here, Bottas gets the DRS and is going to look for the move. Now we're going to stay on the inside here.
Try to stay with them, they might make a mistake and we could still regain the position.
We see Bottas just falls right behind us, which is great news, that's what we needed there. So we can basically just go up ahead and not worry too much about him. And that gap...
Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps.
That gap does go up a little bit to 9 tenths, and we... Actually, there we go, we've broken the DRS range, which is brilliant. So we don't need to worry about Bottas for the time being. Although, I don't know where the detection zone is, but actually I'm seeing that gap stabilise, 768. Yeah, so that's probably about right, I think. We did have Alonso briefly just ahead of us, but the detection zone wasn't quite early enough, so we did lose out on getting a DRS benefit. On the last lap of the race now, where are we going to finish here? It's going to be a close finish between P7 and 8, sorry, P8 and 9. Alonso there, 2.1 seconds, it's kind of flown away in the distance. But there you go, Charles Leclerc getting a win for Ferrari for this race here. And I'm sure Bottas will be looking to take this position from me here to get good points for Alfa Romeo, who's 1 point at the moment ahead of us. However, it's looking we're looking very strong here in Sector 3. And as we're running out here, it's going to be really close to the line. Look how close Bottas is getting to us. This is going to be down to the wire right here. He's going to go to the left-hand side. We just get the move done. Or actually defend him off long enough.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Park Fermé.
And there's a P8 right there. Fantastic result for me there. So chuffed with myself for that performance. A strong circuit of mine. And fantastic race. Alonso there getting the driver of the day. Home crowd. Great stuff.
A real team effort then, which has paid off in spades. A great victory here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Let's see how the driver's standings have changed. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I think it has to be Fernando Alonso. He got the strategy spot on and consistently had the pace to come through as well.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Brilliant. So yeah, that's a fantastic result there. We actually go up ahead of Alfa Romeo in terms of the constructors championship. Yuri Vips gets a P19 finish. Really not ideal that, but at the end of the day, we just need to help him develop and get better. But thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you're new. And there you go, got that level 8 into the acclaim. But I'll see you guys around Monaco next week. See you there. Take care.